Hi there, in this tutorial we're going to go through the process of thinking about a coin toss and digitising that with a BBC microbit. So our specification, which asks what the problem is, we'll go from there through to working out an algorithm and then implementing that algorithm in two forms of code. So the problem, how do I mimic a coin toss using digital technology? And these are my constraints, or what I've got to work within. The coin can only have two faces and the results should be random. Now from that, here's my solution. This is what I'm thinking about. I'm going to use a microbit because I don't have any money. Then I'm going to repeat the following process forever. I'm going to code the microbit so that when a button is pressed, so button A for example, it shows either a head or a tail, which is picked at random. The image stays on for 2 seconds and then it disappears. So from that solution, I can then go and look at my algorithm. So my computational thinking is enhanced somewhat. I'm going to repeat. So you can see that I've got this repeat the following forever within a repeat forever loop. And then I just go through the process of saying, well, this is what I need to do computationally to implement my solution. So choose a random value. That random value is going to be true or false. I could have made it numbers, 1 or 2, but true or false works. Now, if button A was pressed, then if random value is true, display heads. If not, display tails. So heads is going to be a skull, tails is going to be a snake. Wait 2 seconds and clear the display. And it will keep checking to see if button A is pressed. And every time button A is pressed, it will have chosen a random value and it will display that random value as a skull if it's true and as a snake if it's false. From the algorithm, hopefully you can see that my block of code reflects it. So you can see that my repeat forever is inside a blue forever block. Then I'm going to store a random value, so I needed to make a variable. I called it rand, R-A-N-D. I've set it right at the start to a random value, which is either going to be true or false. They're called Boolean values, by the way. If button A is pressed, if the value stored in rand is equal to true, then show the skull, or else show the snake. Wait 2000 milliseconds, which is 2 seconds, and then clear the display, which is our show LEDs. There's no white LEDs, meaning it's just going to show a blank display. Then from the blocks I can go to the code. So in Python, so this is using Python, I need to import a couple of libraries. So from the microbit library I'm going to import everything, and it's the little asterisk means everything. And I'm also going to import random, which is another library which allows me to choose random numbers. Then here is my code, which reflects very much what's in the blocks. So while true is very similar to forever, and it just creates a loop. I'm going to create a variable called rand, and that rand is going to equal random.choice of true or false. If button A was pressed, then if rand is true, show the skull, or else show the snake. Sleep for 2000 milliseconds or sleep for 2 seconds, then clear the display. Hopefully you can see the relationship between the blocks and the code. So if you want to read the content descriptors and where this fits in or how it could be used, then just pause this screen and you can take a look. If you're interested in finding out more about libraries and what they're all about, then just stay on for the next couple of minutes and it'll all be explained to you. So as you can see, we've imported two libraries, one called microbit, where we've imported everything, and we've also imported the random library as well. So what do these look like? Well, let's take a look. So we'll look at the microbit library first of all. So I've gone to this website. You don't need to worry too much about it, but it is where all the microbit libraries are stored, and I've just gone into one of them, which is microbit button. Now you don't even have to worry about what the CPP stands for, but if we take a look, you can see that within here, and this is just a library of code for the buttons themselves. Don't expect you to understand it all. I don't understand it all. But we've used a piece of code called if microbit button was pressed, and here it is. So if microbit button was pressed, then do all of these things. Now, thankfully, I don't have to understand any of this. I just have to type in if button A dot was pressed. All of this stuff happens. So I don't need to worry about it. It just does what I expect it to do. So the library is a whole bunch of code that hides in behind and does a bunch of stuff that you want it to do, but you don't need to know how it does it. And if we take a look at the other tab here, so this is the tab for random, and it is all of the library of code for random. And if you want to get freaked out, okay, it's that long, everything about random. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to look up what we were interested in, which was random.choice, I think is what we used. If I go up to my Microsoft Edge ellipses and I choose find on the page and I put in choice and press enter, it'll find there's 4 instances of choice. The first one, so these are all of the terms that the library understands. If I go to the next one, this describes choice, okay, what to do if someone puts in random dot choice. And there's probably another one, okay, so choice equals instance dot choice. I don't understand what that means, and I don't need to. Between those 4 choices, what it will do is it will choose a random element from a non-empty sequence. So it'll choose a number for us or something. So we got it to choose between true and false. You could get it to choose between a bunch of numbers, I would imagine. So these are the libraries of code. We don't need to know everything within them, thankfully. We just need to know how to use them. And normally the terminology is the library itself, which in this case is random, then a full stop, and then what method you want. And the method that we wanted was this one called choice. It looks at this, it goes down, it finds what that means, and it executes it. So that's all. That's how libraries work, and there's thousands and thousands of them for Python to help students and to help teachers and to help coders to create programs quickly without needing to worry about doing a whole bunch of extra code that someone else has already done for them. Hope this makes sense. Thanks for watching. Talk to you later.